Welcome to the English First Additional Language video on the learning paper. I hope that you've studied your learning paper. I hope that you have completed the exercises. This is your first exam for the year, but we're going to discuss what you can expect from the learning paper and from your exam. So let's start. So, your English First Additional Language paper will consist of a comprehension and a language section. You've done both in class. The date for your exam is on the 8th of June. It's also on your learning paper, so make sure that you are at school and that you write, because if you are absent, you are going to need a doctor's letter to rewrite the paper. And then your marks, the total marks that this exam will count is out of 50. And as I already said, it is in two sections. It is in comprehension and a language. Let's start with comprehension. We did this in class quite a lot. We did comprehensions in two ways. I read stories to you and you orally answered questions on the story when I asked you, and through that we also exercised how to answer in full sentences. Then we also did written comprehensions where you had to read a piece together in class, and then there were questions that you had to write down in your book and then answer the questions in full sentences. So here are some tips that I can give you so that you are successful in answering the questions in a comprehension. First of all, read the piece at least 2 times because there is enough time. Guys, don't go to the questions first. Read the comprehension piece through and read it again so that you understand what you are reading. Then it's important that you also read the questions carefully. If you don't understand the question, or if you've misread the question, then you're going to answer the question incorrectly. All the answers are in the reading pieces. So, therefore, there is no reason for you to guess the answer. Go back to the reading piece once you understand the question. Go and look for the answer and copy that answer correctly, because spelling will count, because you've got all the words in the reading piece and there's no need for you to spell incorrectly. Let's look at an example. We've done this in class, but we're going to do one again. The white rabbit ran through a green patch of grass and found a juicy orange carrot. The question is, what is the color of the carrot? What color is the carrot? Let's go through the reading piece again. The white rabbit ran through a green patch of grass and found a juicy orange carrot. Can you see that there are 3 colors in that reading piece? But the correct answer is orange. So that is why I said first, understand the question, make sure that you haven't misread the question, and then go back to the reading piece. If I'd asked you what color is the rabbit, you would have answered white. If I asked you what color is the grass, you could have said green. But in this case, the question asks what color is the carrot, and the answer is orange. I'm going to ask you to read the passage on page 1, The Lost Puppy, and then we're going to go forward to the answers of those questions. If you haven't completed this exercise yet, my suggestion is to pause the video, to go and complete that exercise, and then go back or come back to the video and get the correct answers. If you are going to just copy the answers from the video into your learning paper, you're not learning anything. So try and work. It's not that difficult, and even the exam paper is not that difficult. But if you've exercised or practiced this, then you'll be able to be successful with a comprehension. Right, so now you've read The Lost Puppy. Now the first question, 3 questions, was multiple answer or multiple questions where you have to pick the correct answer by circling it. So the first question was, where was Mia playing? If you go back to the Lost Puppy reading piece, you'll see, and it's written there in bold, she was playing in her yard. The answer is in the reading piece. The second question was, and find the correct answer again, was, what did Mia hear? Did she hear a cat meowing? Did she hear a loud noise? Did she hear a bird singing? No. She heard a soft barking noise, and that answer is also in the reading piece. The third multiple choice question was, how did the puppy look at first? Did he look happy, angry, excited? No. He was scared and hungry, and that answer is in your reading piece. Then you had two questions where you have to answer the questions in full sentences. That means that you take a part of the question and you start your full sentence with that question to answer the question. So the first question was, why did Mia call the phone number on the puppy's tag? You could have answered, Mia called the number on the puppy's tag because she wanted to return the puppy. Or you could have answered, Mia called the number on the puppy's tag because she knew the puppy was lost. Any of those two answers would have been correct, because in the reading piece, it states there that she wants to return the puppy, but you can accept that the puppy is lost, otherwise she wouldn't have to return it. So either of those answers would have been correct. And can you also see that I didn't answer the question just say to return the puppy or she knew the puppy was lost. No, I started the sentence by using the questions by saying Mia called the number on the puppy's tag because Mia called the number on the puppy's tag because. Can you see that that is a full sentence? Then you will have questions in the comprehension where you've got to give your own opinion. Remember, this is actually a very nice and easy question because you can say or express yourself in your own words. In this case, I will not mark for spelling, but your answer needs to make sense. So in this case, the question was, what would you have done if you found the lost puppy and why? Can you see that that question is divided into two parts? It asks you, what would you have done if you found a lost puppy? And then it also asks you why. So to start the answer in a full sentence, you would say, if I found a lost puppy, I would. Now you can go on and say, call my parents and ask them to place the lost puppy on Facebook. And then why? Because I want to return the puppy. Or you could have said, if I found a lost puppy, I would knock on neighbors' doors because I want to return the puppy. Or you could have said, if I found a lost puppy, I would go to the SPCA because I know that they can find the owners. So any of those questions would have been right and would have been given 2 marks. So go and practice your comprehension and practice your exercises by doing it in full sentences. You've got a comprehension. You've got a couple of comprehension tests in your workbooks that you can play with. Right, if you need to take a quick break, if you did the exercise and now need to take a quick break, you can pause the video because that is the end of the comprehension section. So now we are going to go on and move to language. Right, the first section of language is the oi and oi sound. Can you hear that they sound the same? Both of these sounds sound the same, but can you see that there's 2 different spellings? Now, here are the rules. If you have an oi sound at the end of a word, for example, toy, joy, soy, soy is soya milk, boy, enjoy, then the OY sound is used. So when we ask you to complete a word by adding an OY sound, and that OY sound is at the end of the word, then you use the OY sound. We did talk about an exception, but for the exam, you will not get that exception. Most words that have the oi sound in the middle of the word, for example, coin, boil, soil, then you use the oi sound. Once again, remember I also said that there was an exception to that rule, but for the exam and for most of the English words, this is the rule that you need to remember. Then I asked you to fill out an exercise. If you haven't done it, pause the video, quickly look at the rules, and then complete the exercise, and I will now follow it with the answers. So, boy, can you hear? Boy, the oi sound is at the end, therefore it's an OY sound. Coin, oi sound is in the middle of the word, therefore it's the OI sound. Toy, oi sound is at the end of the word, then you use the OY. Boil is in the middle of the word, oi is in the middle of the word, therefore it's the OI sound. Soil in the middle of the word, therefore it's the OI sound. And joy is at the end of the word, oi, therefore you use the OY sound. Practice this, guys. It's very easy. It's 2 easy rules. You can't get it wrong. Let's move on to punctuation. Every time we did paragraphs or sentences in class, I said, use capital letters at the beginning of a sentence, and for names, use full stops, use commas. So let's have a quick look at the rules of punctuation. Always start sentences with a capital letter. All names and places are also spelled with a capital letter. That is your name, my name, someone else's name, Gauteng, South Africa, America, Brazil, Pretoria. All of those are names or places, and therefore they are spelled with capital letters. Doesn't matter where it is in the sentence, but all sentences start with a capital letter. Always put a full stop at the end after a sentence. Easy. If I say the dog is lying on the mat, that's just a statement. It's not a question. It's not shouting. It's just saying the dog is on the mat. Therefore, that sentence will end in a full stop. Exclamation marks, on the other hand, is used when someone is excited or shouting or surprised. So that is that exclamation mark that you see there, and that is used when you can clearly, when you read the sentence, you can hear or read or understand that that person is giving a warning, shouting, maybe excited. But we'll do an exercise for that. Question marks are used when someone is asking a question. That means that when you read the sentence, there needs to be an answer given. Why are you late for class? Can you hear? Someone has to answer. And therefore, you will end that sentence with a question mark. And then lastly, commas. They're there to separate thoughts and ideas. Commas there so that you can take a little bit of a break. We did the exercise in class where you had to name a grocery list and remember it. Lucy went to the shops and she bought bread, milk, sugar, baking powder, cheese, apples, potatoes. Can you hear how many of the same thoughts and ideas are in that sentence? And how do we organize that? By putting a comma in between those grocery items. And remember lastly that the word I, when you refer to yourself, me, I, that word is always spelled with a capital letter no matter where it is in a word. Oh, in a sentence, sorry. Where it is in the sentence. If it's at the beginning, it's a capital I. If it's in the middle of a sentence, it's a capital I. For instance, I went to the door and then I opened it. That I is still a capital letter. Then I gave you an exercise, an example exercise. So the example that I asked in punctuation was rewrite the following sentences using the correct punctuation. Did you feed the dog? Can you hear that that sounds like a question because someone has to answer yes or no, or I forgot? And if you look at the sentence, you'll also see that did starts with a small letter. It's at the beginning of the sentence. Therefore, that D at the beginning of did must change to a capital letter because it's at the beginning of the sentence. And because you can hear it's a question, there's a question mark at the end of that sentence. The next sentence, Simpiwe was late for school. If you look at that sentence, Simpiwe is at the beginning of the sentence, but Simpiwe is also a name. Therefore, the S in Simpiwe needs to change to a capital letter. And then if you read the sentence again, Simpiwe was late for school. Is someone shouting? No. Is someone surprised? No. Is someone asking a question? No. Therefore, it just gets a full stop at the end of the sentence. Right, go and try the exercise that I've given you on page 4. Complete that exercise and then pause the video if you haven't done it. And I am going to now give you the answers. The first sentence was, will you be able to come to my party? If you look at the sentence, how does the sentence start? It starts with will. Is will the first word in the sentence? Yes, therefore the W must become a capital letter. And if you read the sentence again, there is a question because someone has to answer yes or no, or no, I can't, or maybe. So if you rewrote the question, the sentence like this, then you're correct. W becomes a capital letter and you end off the sentence with a question mark. The next sentence that I gave you was, stop, shouted the policeman. What did he shout? Stop. Right. So if you look at the sentence, the word stop is the first word in the sentence. Therefore, the S in stop should change or must change to a capital letter. And then that's the word that is shouted. So then it follows with an exclamation mark. And then shout at the policeman is just a normal statement again, and therefore it ends off with a full stop. And if you've rewritten the sentence in that way, then you are correct. Right, past tense. These are sentences that you change to yesterday, last week, last year, a minute ago. It's stuff that has already taken place. It's past. You can't bring it back. In the exam, you will be asked to add an ed to words to change the word to read in past tense. Now, just below that, you've got a word bank on this slide, and it asks you to identify the past tense words below. Walk, played, talked, picked, sing, dream. What are the past tense words in that word bank? There are 3. Played, can you see the ed at the end? Talked and picked. Remember, and we're going to talk about verbs, but we did verbs in class. It's the verb in the sentence that is changed to past tense. A verb is a do word. So on the right hand side there where the arrow is, you can see everything that you do is a verb. Obey, fail, buy, bake, break. Those are all do words. So when they ask you to change the word in brackets into past tense, you know it is the verb. For example, I said, add an ed to the words in brackets to change the sentence to past tense. I walk to school yesterday. Walk needs to change to past tense because you can see the word yesterday in there. Add ed to that word, and then the sentence changes to I walked to school yesterday. I asked you now to try this one on your own. I played soccer last month, and the answer is you add an ed to the word play. Therefore, the word becomes played. Okay, and then at the bottom there, John walked to school. If you add an ed, walked to school. Khomotso liked his holiday in Limpopo. Khomotso liked his holiday in Limpopo. I hope this makes sense. Go and practice it. You did this in class. Then we move on to verbs. Verbs are action words, do words, guys. So do words are, for example, play, walk, laugh. Remember, we did that exercise in class where I told some of you to stand up, sit down, don't talk, walk out of class, and you all did that, and I explained that that is an action word because you're doing something. So see if you can remember what an action or a do word is by underlining the verbs in the sentences below. If you haven't done, once again, I'm going to say, if you haven't done this exercise, pause the video, do it by yourself, and then you can continue with the video, and here are the answers. So number one, the cat ran after the dog. What is the cat doing? It ran. Number two, 5 little monkeys climbed the tree. What did they do? They were climbing. An old man jumped off his boat. Jumped is the do word. She reads her book for 5 hours. She read her book for 5 hours. Read is the do word in that sentence. Number 5, Mary jumped over the small pond. What is Mary doing? She's jumping, or she jumped. And then number 7, Jimmy shouted at his pets. What is Jimmy doing? Shouting, or he shouted at his pets. So there are the answers. If you got everything correct, then you are ready to write the exam on verbs. Nouns. Nouns can be divided into persons, places, and things. This is an exercise we did in class. You also did this in your workbooks. So let's look at an example of a noun. Sally is a girl. What is Sally? Sally is a person. Girl is also a person. All right. Gauteng is a place. Therefore, Gauteng is a place. If you look at persons, places, and things. And then animals are things. We always refer to animals as things. And tables, chairs, sky, shoes, anything like that are things. Then we gave you an exercise, and it said state if the underlined word is a person, a place, or a thing. Brian is sick. Brian is a person. Can you see Brian is underlined? We're asking that noun. What is it? Is it a person, a place, or a thing? Brian is a person. Therefore, the noun is person. South Africa, underlined, is a place. The cat is sleeping is a thing. Cat is a thing. Push in your chair. Chair is underlined. It's a thing. Park is underlined. It's a place. And president is underlined, and it's a person. Then we can move on to adjectives. What is an adjective? An adjective is a word that describes the noun. We just did nouns. A noun is a people or a person, a place, or a thing. Now we say a noun, how is it described? For example, the pretty girl. Where is the noun in that sentence? And where is the adjective? Pretty is the adjective because it describes the noun, which is the girl. Can you see that? The girl is pretty, or the pretty girl. Pretty describes the girl, therefore pretty is the adjective. The huge house. Huge is the adjective because it's describing the house. The house is a thing, therefore the house is a noun. The small mouse. Small is the adjective because it's describing the mouse. The mouse is the noun. Right, then I asked you to complete an exercise. There are the answers. The sky is blue. What color is the sky? Sky is a thing. It's blue, therefore the adjective is blue. The cat is fluffy. Can you see cat is the noun? What describes the cat? Fluffy. Therefore the adjective is fluffy. The apple is red. The noun is a thing, apple. What color? It describes it as red. Therefore the adjective is red. The flower is pretty. Flower is a thing, a noun. Pretty describes the flower. Therefore pretty is the adjective. The dog is happy. Dog is the noun and happy describes the dog. Therefore happy is the adjective. Then we move on to adverbs. Adverbs are words that describe the verb. Remember we said a verb is an action or a do word. Don't get confused between verbs and nouns. Verb is a do word. Noun is a person, place, or thing. Now we're looking at adverbs. Can you see the word verb is in that word already? Adverb describes the verb. How, when, and where. For example, the girl ran fast. Quickly tell me if you can identify the noun in that sentence. Yes, girl. If you didn't identify the noun, go back to the slides and learn your nouns. But now we're looking at, now I want you to identify the verb. The verb is ran. That's the do word. How did that girl run? Fast. Therefore, fast is the adverb because it's describing the verb. Second sentence. The dog barked loudly. I'm going to ask again. Where's the noun in that sentence? If you said dog, you're correct. If you didn't get it right, go back to nouns and learn your nouns. Now, where's the verb in that sentence? The do work, barked. Nee? And then the adverb is describing how the dog barked loudly. Therefore, loudly is the adverb and it describes the verb. Then we said there's an I gave you an exercise then. I've given you the answers there. Look at the verbs that are underlined. Can you see in that exercise, the verbs are already underlined for you. Find the adverb. Adverb is something that describes the verb and write it in the line provided. So there are your answers. I hope you got this right. Do a couple of other exercises. There are exercises in your workbook. You also have revision exercises in your homework book. This is the end of the video, so all I can say for now is good luck. I hope that you study hard. Go back, re-look at the video. If you're unsure, you know where to find me. You see me every day. Stay calm, and I'm pretty sure that you've got it. So have a nice evening or a nice day, and we'll see you on the 8th of June.